friends, and welcome to episode 160 of The Rewind, a podcast built around the absolute crazy amount of information that comes out each week about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. If you don't have time to take a deep dive into the 15 hours of Joppa streams, Q&As, and thousands of Discord posts each week, this is a show for you. As a labor of love, Draq and I, mostly Draq, because he's a glutton for punishment and someone has to be the lazy one, sift through every possible outlet of information and mix it all together like my plate on Thanksgiving. Yes, gravy on everything, and don't make me ask again. We also want to take a moment to thank you for your support. This will be our 6th episode, and no one has told us to stop, so we take that as a win. We would appreciate it if you took a second to like the episode and subscribe, so you get the reminder when a new episode is available for you to listen to. If you like our odd brand of humor and want to support the show further, there's a link to our Patreon in the description below. Pick a tier that works for you, and you'll have early access to the episode that week. See what I did there? Referencing early access from our episode last week? Yeah. The joke isn't as funny if I have to explain it to you, Draq. Now on with the show!
Our gaming weeks.
Gaming weeks.
Woo!
So, Draq, what did you play this week?
Oh my goodness. So, I don't know.
Not good, huh?
If you've been following the channel or not, but we have a running joke that Throne and Liberty is called Hills and Tribes, and it has absolutely lived up to its name because it's friggin' awful.
That's too bad, Draq. I wanted this to be a win.
I literally played 5 minutes and couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, it's a pretty game, and it looks good, but it just stabbed me. Like, it's crossplay, so it's Xbox compatible, it's PS5 compatible, and it feels like it was developed for a console. And I just don't like playing RPGs, and especially I don't like playing MMOs that are developed for a console. It feels awful.
I'm sorry, buddy. As a console gamer myself, I don't necessarily mind it, but I totally feel you on that. If it's going to be on a console, to me, I just want it to be a single player game. I don't want any of my MMOs to be on the PlayStation 5. I get it. Final Fantasy 14 is great. You can play it on computer and PS5. That's all well and good. I just don't want to do that. So I want it to be PC based only. So everyone's on the same sort of playing field as far as that goes. But yeah, that's too bad. I've heard nothing but it's a beautiful game, but it just, and I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago, it just doesn't have much of a soul to it. And Redbeard Flynn did a great video about it. And I know he, only put 30 hours, which is way more than you put into it. And I'm sure there are people that put way more. He said in that beta that there were people that made it to the max level. So that's crazy to think that you can be max level in a week. Hopefully they take those notes and adjust it accordingly, because if you can make it to 50 in a week, max level in 1 week, oof. And you don't even know where to go and what's the optimal route, and you're doing max level, rough.
I mean, that's kind of your modern day MMORPG, right? It's get to max level as fast as humanly possible and then start playing the real game. It's a train wreck. I want no part of it. We've been playing Pantheon. We're still on our summoners. We have subtracted one summoner, Vendini, and made him a shaman because we need a healer in the group.
No heal pets is rough.
Yeah, when they moved the heal pets to 20 instead of being level, 10 or whatever it was that they were before, that really, really hurt us a lot. So we got Vendini as our healer. We're trying to get in at Manor, but I just remembered this last week. They raised the level of Manor, remember?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they raised the level of Manor, and then I realized that last week. I'm like, it doesn't start at 10 anymore. I think it starts at 12. So we had a rough week last week. We died a lot last week. It was, I don't know if we weren't on our game or what, but it was not showing off the OP-ness of the summoners. So
during that stream, we're never really quote unquote on our game. We're trying to have fun too and show off the game, and so it's never really hardcore. But obviously we're also not in a real group either. Like, this is just us kind of having fun. I don't know if any of us really want to play a summoner, so it's not it's not like we're really super vested into it. Like, I'm finding it awfully boring, but that's because I'm not a summoner person, and I'm sure it gets better. Just like with every class in this game, we kind of poo-poo on it from 1 to 10, but that's because we don't have all the stuff in place yet. It's going to take a while to get into its stride. So I feel, as soon as we get a new pet in, we can start doing the heal pet and, rotate our fire, water, and tank pet, the earth pet. I think it'll be a lot better if we ever get there. Honestly, we'll probably get wiped before we get to that point. But yeah, it's just, for me, summoner is just meh because I'm not a summoner. If it was someone like Churro Dude that really wants to play a gnome summoner, then he's probably having a really good time with it.
He probably is. And if we're super honest, I really think the wizard's kind of boring 1 to 10 too. Like, it's not that exciting.
Yeah, you didn't have fun with it, right? Remember Vendini told you,
Yeah,
it doesn't get good till 12. It doesn't get good till 14.
Yeah, he kept moving the number.
Moving the line back.
It's fine.
That's fine. It's totally fine. 1 through 10 are pretty boring anyway. You remember when we played EverQuest, everyone from 1 through 4 was literally the same. It didn't matter if you were a caster, fighter, scout, whatever. None of us had armor. None of us had spells. We were just beating things with whatever weapon we were given. And 1 through 4 was that. And then finally at 4, mages broke off when they got their first pet or their first spells or, whatever. And that's what kind of started changing them. So it just takes a little time, and it'll be fine. But I think, obviously after the wipe and we start playing our characters that we really actually want to play and test and make sure are really good, I think we'll be having a lot more fun. So definitely tune in Monday nights, midnight Eastern, After Dark program. We've got a lot of great programs here on the Static Group Live channel, mostly on Twitch. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Check those VODs out. They are a lot of fun. I sang the Toreador song this week, which is one of my all-time favorites. It kicks a bunch of ass. So go check out me singing some Carmen.
Absolutely. What about you? What have you been up to this week?
Same sort of situation. Lots and lots of EQ2. My guild on Varsoon has revamped all the raid nights. So as people have kind of exited to either move over to the Origin server or whatever their case maybe is, leaving because they don't like necessarily the next expansions that are coming out for whatever reason, we've had to really consolidate. And so we've kind of tried to make the raid nights good for everybody. So now I'm raiding more nights but less time. It's very strange, but it works out. It takes up less time in the day, and that's always a good thing when you're not just strapped to a computer for 4 hours raiding. That's not super productive for anything. That's I get that's really hardcore, but a lot of people don't really want to pay attention for 4 hours, and breaking up into like little 2-hour segments is a lot more manageable, digestible, and certainly easier for people to be able to join, because it's mostly about, we want warm bodies. We don't care about what class you're playing. It doesn't need to be the ultimate, here's the best 24 classes we can have. No, we can work with everything. The game was meant to be beat with not just one set of meta for grouping, right? Like it should be everyone. But the problem comes in when people have to start boxing, when you can't even get 24 real people together, then it becomes a problem. So they've revamped everything. Sorry, I rambled on about that. And I'm really excited to raid the hole some more. And Icy Keep as well. So we're doing Icy Keep's kind of the easy one, and we're doing that kind of on a volunteer sort of situation on Friday nights, and then we're raiding the whole 3 other nights, 2 hours a pop, which is just a quick in and out, get some pulls on some mobs. Hopefully we're successful, and if we're not, we don't have to bang our head into the wall for 4 straight hours, which I've definitely done on a raid and is fucking miserable. So yeah, if anyone is looking to play Varsoon, and I don't know if we even had a chance to talk about it because, the Redbeard episode was so long, but Varsoon's going on further. They're getting another 1.5 years of updates and expansions past any EQ2 TLE that they've done. So if you're interested in some of these things past the Sentinel Fate, some of these expansions, come on over to Varsoon. There's a lot of fun, active people. People are still playing there, even though Draq says there's only 6. There's definitely more than that, and you can still find people to raid with. Other than that, you and I have been playing some Origins. An Ashty Sewell. I know this week has been pretty busy for both of us. We've not been playing as much this week as we had wanted to, but I'm still going strong. I'm a 34 Guardian now, and that's exciting. Probably more by the time that this episode airs, but having a really good time. We just started cracking into Runny Eye. We said goodbye to the ruins of Varsoon and moving over to Runny Eye, and it's a lot of fun reliving some of these expansions, or not expansions, some of these zones that when I started playing on Varsoon, we just blasted through. You literally just killed each mob one time, and then the XP gain was so much more than what it is like on Origins that you just only have to do the whole thing once. Like, I would definitely remember going through Black Burrow, just killing every mob and then being done, move on to the next dungeon, which is Ruins of Varsoon. Go kill everything once, you're done, move on to the next one. So being able to go back and do these dungeons several times over is a lot of fun. So I'm killing gobbies and taking out the Enchanted Lands one gobby at a time.
I'm so behind on Anashti Sewell. I'm so behind. Like, it's driving me crazy. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Next week, next week, we're not having a rewind because I am dropping my kids off. I'm driving to Montana. I'm dropping my kids off with the grandparents, and they are taking the kids for 10 days. So, hallelujah. I'm going to have 10 days of kids free, and I'm going to use that to get caught up on Origins. I'm going to be like going at it. So hopefully that will get me a little bit more caught up.
No, that's great. I'll do my best to help you out as well. I can't do everything, but I'll do my best.
We're back again with another amazing adventure, and we wouldn't go anywhere without our amazing adventuring party. First off, we have Ziplocs on the Darkmare Rogue, Grogu on the Human Warrior, Anton Doviditis on the Darkmare Shaman Glyphkeeper, and Chirodude on the Gnome Summoner. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. If you would like to support the Rewind financially, you can do so at patreon.com/staticgrouplive. If not, no worries. Just leave us a like, leave us a comment, share the video with your friends. We're trying to grow the Rewind as large as possible. Onward and upward.
This week in Visionary Realms News and Notes.
All right, VR news and notes. Well, we start with a little bit of a downer this week. Ben Dean is no longer working for VR, and that's a sad moment. Because we love Ben Dean. We love Ben Dean's beans. We love train him if you don't like him. We love the progeny quote. Like, Ben has been a constant source of entertainment because he has such a good-natured personality, and he's just been a wonderful guy that's been in the background of Pantheon Rise of the Fallen since not the
beginning, right?
I don't think it's been since the Kickstarter, but it was right after the Kickstarter is when Ben started. Somebody in chat's probably corrected me already, but I'm pretty sure that's when Ben started. And then he's just him and Brad McQuaid, right? Where they were buddies, and Brad couldn't wait to bring his friend on. And so it's just kind of a sad moment. We will miss you, Ben Dean, and whatever you're doing now,
Definitely gonna miss you.
I hope that you're enjoying it, and hopefully one day we'll see you in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
That'd be wonderful. I know he's been kind of a constant source. I know he took kind of a little back seat, but he was the face of Pantheon for a while, like especially when I first started watching stuff about Pantheon. So to see him, just kind of have to go is sad, but I get it. It's the same thing in the NFL, right? It's a business deal. You can't mix the business with the person, right? It is what it is. And if we're going to get this game done, and if that's the right direction, then so be it. He is a smart man. He will find something else. He probably already has something. That may be why he has kind of taken a backseat for so long and not been in the face of things for a while now, so that he has time to find something else that he can dive into. So Yeah, Ben, we know that you will be missed.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't given any details. Obviously, people have their own personal thing, and we're not going to pester Ben for the reasons. Love you, Ben. We will see you in Pantheon
Appreciate
later.
your time.
Also, we got some pledges that are going on sale. Dun, dun, dun. The Black Rose pledge, which was your initial pledge, is now
$750.
Yep, is now $600, and the Pathfinder pledge is now $200. It's a fantastic
saving.
It's a fantastic deal. They're going.
Well, if you've got the FOMO, step right up. We've got a package just for you. If you want in all the way up till EA in December, hop on that Black Rose, and what a deal!
What a dealio. So we have a little bit of a interesting situation. Apparently, on the co-stream, Co talked about EA and wasn't very flattering about it. And then somebody in Joppa stream cornered Co about it. So it was kind of a little bit of a back and forth, and we just wanted to discuss that. But we need to get Mr. C to read Co's part, because that's what we do here at the Rewind. So here is Mr. C reading Co. Go.
Haha. Well, I've never been huge on the term. You got me there. It can mean so many things and can leave a lot undefined. It leaves it up to the devs to really set expectations, which don't super well that often. I'm doing an EA for the game I'm working on though, so clearly they have their place. I'm hoping Pantheon can steer that ship as well. As for Pantheon, I've always been one for getting content to the players as fast as possible while keeping a high quality level. If an EA program now helps facilitate that, then they gotta do what they gotta do. Involving the community and being as transparent with everything as possible is the best course forward, IMO.
Now, Joppa was asked on his stream about what Co said.
We're playing stream telephones.
This is...
You remember that game that we played as kids where you whisper into one ear and you play the telephone game? That's what we've got going on here. We've got a streaming telephone game.
This is drama at its highest.
I love it.
Joppa was asked about what Co said on his stream, and Joppa said that the way that he took it was that Co doesn't like it when studios use words like early access improperly. But Joppa feels like VR is using early access properly, so Co is probably okay with it. That's why he didn't feel like it was an insult to him at the time. Do you feel like, one, that that's what Co said, and two, that he feels like Pantheon is using early access correctly?
Well, if we take reference back to our last episode with Redbeard, I think he said it best that we as old people, and we are old, are not necessarily using the term correctly. What was early access means something different for now in the current times.
It now means what wasn't early access is now called Head Start.
Sure, whatever you want to call it, or whatever Redbeard called it, or it doesn't matter. Just know that what we as old people know as early access is not really what early access is, and especially for the MMO genre, because there really isn't, kind of how Redbeard took it. It's just not the same sort of situation when you early access a game like Madden. The game is already ready and done, but with a huge MMO, it can't be the same. We're comparing apples to potatoes. It's completely different things, and we need to get out of our own heads about what early access means and what it means to us, and really just go, like I read off the wiki that one episode of what Wikipedia, what early access means. It said early development, early beta. It's not a soft release like we thought it was. That was our opinion, is that this is going to look like a soft release, and in the MMO genre, it's not, I guess.
All right. So do you feel like VR's doing okay here?
After, RBF talked me off the ledge, I do feel better about the words early access, the term early access. We have just been plagued by not great communication, and I think we've just been burned on it so many times that we deep dig into, oh, what does early access really mean? And so we get really bitter when we try to compare it to other early accesses, and it just is not, it's not going to work out that way. So we have to, be able to conform our brains and our opinions into something that's slightly different. It's just the way the times they be a changing, and it's the way that gaming and MMOs are going to go. And this is new Kickstarter. Kickstarter's dead. It'll never be successful again. And this is kind of the new sort of Kickstarter-esque thing, although it's not a Kickstarter, right? Like, the game is already developed, kind of a portion of it is developed, and it's still going to be continuing to be developed during this early access time. So it's just very confusing. And that's just kind of been the MO for Pantheon the entire time I've been a part of this community. So, you just like with what Joppa says on a stream, you take it with a little grain of salt, and it's going to be fine. Do I think that VR is using the term properly? Probably in the year 2024. Yeah, they are probably using it properly. Now, if this was 10 years ago, absolutely not. Early access means the game is about to come out. You get a week head start at it. And that was what early access meant for us when this whole thing started and we accepted what early access was. But it's changed into something else now. And so we have to be willing to accept that. And so, yeah, do I think VR, to go back to your question, Jack, do I think VR is using it properly? I actually do. I do think that this early access in 2024 in an MMO genre, they are using it well. And they did put out a fact sheet, and they're trying to be as clear as possible. I think that is a really good sign. Go onto their website and see what early access means to them. They have spelled it out completely of what to expect from this early access. So if you're confused on verbiage, just go to the website and see the little posted comments that they've got about it, and you will have a very clear idea of what EA means to them. So I Ko's right too. Both parties are right. Ko's right to say that using early access as a term, not so great, but also, he does realize that Pantheon needs to do what they need to do to get the game out as quickly as possible. And if that means saying early access, I mean, you heard it in the quote that the Mr. C read. He wants to make sure it's the best course possible, right? So if that's what it is, then so be it. Thanks, Redbeard Flynn, for talking me off the ledge last week.
You mentioned the EA fact sheet. That's actually in the description down below. I think this is fantastic. They have a whole webpage dedicated to exactly what early access is. And honestly, they covered the big rocks that everyone wanted to know. Like, we're going to have a Q&A session this week, but the massive major questions that needed to be known are in this EA fact sheet. Like, if I had to create a top 10 list, they covered them all. So I think this EA fact sheet, the early access fact sheet, is fantastic. And I think maybe they should have had it when they announced it. But
maybe
they're only a week late. Maybe, but they're only a week late.
The communication has never been great with them, right?
Right on.
So the fact that we even have this to look at before the Q&A,
absolutely
wonderful. Definitely a step in the right direction. I very much appreciate VR for putting that out. They certainly didn't have to. They could have left us in the lurch for that entire time until the Q&A this Thursday. So no, thank you, VR, for putting that out and shoring up those questions pretty quickly.
You know what else?
What else?
We caught VR watching the rewind last week. I don't know if you saw that.
I knew it. They love us. They secretly love us, especially Sav. That's great. I'm glad that they see that our opinion is, we don't have co-viewers. But I do feel like we speak to a good chunk of the more I don't want to say hardcore.
Dedicated
because
nosebleeders.
Dedicated nosebleeders. Yes, that's beautiful, Jack. That community that is not very large, we do speak to them, and I think that a lot of their opinions kind of gel with what we say as well, Draq. I think we all kind of come from the same place of wanting this to be our forever home, and so not that my or your opinion matters more than anybody else's, either in our tight little community or outside that, but I'm glad that they are at least taking the time to listen, see our concern, and especially if they listened to last week's episode and had to, hear Redbeard talk us down from the ledge. That's probably where a lot of the people in this little nosebleeding community is at. We wanted to hear, some voice of reason and where that's coming from. So yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. Appreciate you for showing us that you want our opinion, and that's all that goodwill stuff, right? Remember when we had to take a campaign to rebuild VR's goodwill? This is part of it. Coming to check out your streamers, coming to check out the people who are interested in your game, and telling them, hey, thanks so much. We appreciate your feedback. That's awesome. That's super, super awesome. So thank you so much, VR. We love you. We appreciate you for all the hard work you've done, for all the sacrifices you've had to make, for all the bullshit that you've had to listen to by stupid people for the last 10 years. I'm sorry for any of that. I'm sorry that we've had to vent frustrations too, but I'm sure you guys do too. You probably have meetings where it's just like, God, these stupid assholes at the Rewind just won't stop talking shit about us. So we appreciate you. I definitely am glad we're taking a moment to appreciate VR for what they do for their community.
Now that's one way you could take it, right? That's one opinion. The other opinion that you could take is that Redbeard Flynn was on.
Oh yeah.
And then they, and he's a huge deal, and he is
a huge deal. I can't believe he even came on our show.
He's otherworldly. They were probably just tuning in for Redbeard Flynn, but I don't know. It could
as
be,
most people did.
Yeah, as most people did. It could be one or the other, but I don't know. We'll see.
Whatever. I like my way better.
Last but not least, if you've been listening to the Rewind, that we record on Tuesdays. And then I take a nice long 4 days to edit this thing down. And then we post on Saturdays. But this week, once again, VR is dropping massive news on the Thursday. So Dymlos and I are going to hunker down, and we're going to get in the bunker, and we're going to do a Friday morning recording special for you guys. We're like shoving our family and shoving work. Oh, wait, never mind. No, we're shoving our family.
Wow. Shots fired.
Boo-boo. And we're going to do a special rewind. It's going to be completely dedicated to the early access Q&A that's going to be Thursday. It's going to be huge. Hello, Future Draq here. Just want to let you know that VR did postpone the QA. Now, rumor on the street is they postponed it because they knew Dymlos and I were going to talk about it on the Rewind. I don't know. That may or may not be confirmed. But what we do know is no QA this week, so we will talk about it when we get back. Remember, no Rewind next week because I'm out of town. But the week after that, we will definitely talk about the QA, assuming that they have it done by then. Draq out. And now it's time for Joppa Says, because everything that Joppa says is gold.
More like a grain of salt.
We're going to do what we're going to call the lightning round, where we're going to run through all the information that we have on the Joppa streams. We're just going to give super quick answers, and we're just going to blaze through this thing because we don't want another 2-hour rewind. We got to keep this time down. Are you ready for this, Dymlos?
Let's do it.
All right. Boom. 2 streams from Joppa last week. So, number 1, he is developing the Silent Plains port city, Rulun. It's currently being built. Did you know that there was a port city in Silent Plains?
I did not, but I guess it makes sense. If there's multiple continents, then there should be a port. The zone looks good. It's starting to come together. I know he talked about like gray boxing some of it and being in that part of stage of it, but quickly being able to use his huge Joppa tools to flesh that out pretty quickly. So, and it already does look good. I think he's doing a good job showing us, and also getting some work done, because they've got a lot of work to do. So far so good.
Yeah, and the thorns are in. Those are graphics, or I don't know what you call them, assets that are VR made assets. They're in the game.
Wonderful.
We haven't seen a close up of the big one. I forget what it's called. I'm sure someone's typing it in the chat right now, or I'll probably have it across the screen at the top.
Even
but
better.
There's a big one in the middle. That's the tallest one, and we haven't gotten close up. We've only seen it from far away that I've seen, but it looks impressive.
Yep, I like where this is going, and if I know that Silent Plains is a big open area and is probably a little more easy to develop that for. It's still great seeing something new, something that I know I'm going to get in here real soon.
Joppa also said that we're going to see never before seen monsters in the Silent Plains. Are you excited to see some new looking monsters?
It depends. Are they assets or are they actual things that they've put together?
He did not mention that, so we don't know.
Yeah, so that'll be the kicker. Will I be excited for something that we're not going to use in the game? No. Would I be excited to see something we are going to use in the game? Absolutely.
What if it was an asset that you've seen in Embers Adrift?
Well, then we'll know that they didn't make that one, and that's fine. But Embers Adrift is mostly has deer, so if it's a bunch of deer and badgers, and they don't have any badgers, but it better be not wildlife. But it's the Silent Plains, so it likely is going to be wildlife. So I guess I'm not going to be happy on this one.
Guess not. Not that you're happy that much of the time anyway, but whatever.
That's true. That's true. I like to hate. I love hate. I hate love.
Joppa mentioned that wind shear, which is one of the climates and part of the acclimation system, is tied to elevation. So the farther you go up, the more wind shear there is, and the more acclimation you will need to, I guess, not be knocked off. That sounds super interesting to me.
This absolutely better affect my gliding. If gliding is not altered from the wind shear, I'm going to be real disappointed. But, I also think that the conditions are very cool. So another wind-based condition is awesome, even if it's not affecting my gliding, which it absolutely 100% should.
You mentioned Karana earlier. Joppa said that the Silent Plains is absolutely taking inspiration from Karana. It's going to be very open. There's also going to be traders. You remember those traders in, the Karana, South Karana, where you buy the
gypsies?
Yeah, the gypsies. You buy the magic weapons, man. That's where we went. Yeah. Every time we made that run to go get the magic weapons to kill the whips.
Let me get them combines, baby.
Yeah.
But that's great. Karana is my favorite god in EverQuest, so yeah. I'm very excited that they would take his inspiration of the open plains where it's raining all the time and weather conditions are going to be a big thing. So hopefully they tie that in too. So not that Karana has anything to do with Pantheon, but still very cool. Like one of my favorite zones. Hopefully there'll be bandits that we get to kill and we get purple sashes that we turn in for a quest.
All right. Also, there are going to be roving traders. So I don't know if you remember, but man, this was a while back. But the concept art for the Silent Plains had a giant mammoth with like a ratkin or something leading it around, and it was a roving trader. And so
is that why Bronson was making ratkin is to put on top of this mammoth?
I mean, I think the ratkin are also in the Silent Plains, but yeah, so I'm thinking that this roving trader mammoth thing will probably hopefully be in. That's my guess.
I love it.
That's not confirmed. That's just my guess.
That's fine. I don't need it confirmed. I still love it. I absolutely love a roaming person to sell stuff to. And we'll know its pattern eventually, and we'll be able to find it whenever we want and sell in a huge zone like the Silent Plains. So that's exciting, and hopefully we'll be able to see it from a ways away, so we can wrap up our group of mobs that we're trying to kill, and then oh, he's running by right now. Here, let's go sell real quick and then go right back into grinding. So no, I love this idea. I'm glad that is a thing. So good job.
Can you imagine you enter the zone and then you're like, oh, so hey, does anybody know where the roving trader is? Like
Looking for mammoth.
Looking for mammoth.
LFM. Looking for mammoth.
Yes. That's gonna be so much fun. Those little things are like, dude, it just makes the game so cool. Like you're actually part of the world when that little stuff.
That's the living, breathing world part of it. That's what Throne and Liberty is missing. They've got all this beautiful shit, but they don't have cool stuff like this. This is a cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Joppa mentioned that he loves Ninja Turtles and is excited for the upcoming roguelite Ninja Turtle game. So
I am also very excited for this game. I think it's out now. Maybe not. Maybe I was just seeing people play like early access.
I don't think it's out yet. I will research the information and I will put it on the screen right now.
Beautiful. Are you going to be Donatello?
I mean, I've got to be.
Are you going to even play this game?
I might have to. I do love Ninja Turtles.
It looks fun. It still kind of looks like a beat 'em up, but it's much more difficult. So, that is, I'm all about that. But yeah, we should get 4 turtles together and bust it up.
It's multiplayer too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do it on your couch and you can do it online, from what I understand.
Oh, this sounds amazing.
Check that, look that up and put it in the screen too.
We should probably prepare more for this podcast.
What?
And not just put everything.
I've seen a lot of video on it. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely have. I definitely know you can do it on the couch. And there is online play. I've not seen anyone be able to connect together because the game wasn't out when these videos were made. So I don't know if you can online play your 4 characters, or why would they have online play if you're not going to be able to play together? So I guess I just assume that means that it's going to be 4 players online together.
I think it's 2, but I believe there is.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's Raph and Donnie takes on the Shredder. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Woo. All right. Joppa mentions starting cities. So the Halfling and Elves are going to start together in the Halfling city. And
good.
The humans and dwarves are going to start in Thronefast. Sucks to be you dwarves.
At least they get a starting city.
Right. And the evil races, the ogres and the Dark Mirror, they're going to have sanctuary areas. Could be Ruglan, but I think Silent Plains is a more high-level zone, so I'm not exactly sure where the ogres and the Dark Mirror are going to start, because I don't think they really have a great starting spot.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that people are probably going to want this. Like, people are going to want to start ogres and Dark Mirror more. So they don't want things like Avendir and Demeth where everything's all spread out. They just want to be able to go in, sell their shit, pick up whatever trade skills, and move on. And it'll be all within 2 feet of each other. And that'll be easy. So I bet a lot of people really appreciate the sanctuary area rather than having to navigate a town like Demeth, which can be confusing if you haven't, looked at it a couple times.
I just think people don't want to play humans anymore. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, that's fine. They got dwarves there too, so it'll be plenty populated. People like dwarves. They're blue. That's cool.
Yuck. Gross.
I think the blue dwarf is a cool idea.
I mean, it's the best of the dwarfs, but yeah, no. Joppa mentioned that perception has a long way to be fully realized. Does that make you nervous?
I'm just glad we got more pings in there. Barely. I mean, we ran across one yesterday. Something. What did we go to? Was it the manor? No. We were climbing some rocks, and it said head towards whatever direction. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see. That's again stuff that makes this a living, breathing world. Gives me pinpoints of where I should go. It's not just here. Read this book that your initial person gives you and you can see all the places that you should go. No, you have to go discover them for yourself. Go climb that rock and then you get a perception ping on where to go. That's fucking cool, Joppa. Get it in. It's fine if it's going to take a while to get fully realized. I mean, obviously that's going to take some time. We knew it was going to be, it's this huge new thing that no one's ever done before. So yeah, we know it's going to take some time. Just make sure it stays in because it makes Pantheon different than every other game. So please continue on.
Absolutely. Joppa mentioned that coin splitting is in for groups. Steve Clover has added that. We got another Steve Clover sighting. Woo woo.
Boo, 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 boo. Steve Clover has been cited. Steve Clover has been cited. It's good to see him doing stuff. I mean, I think Joppa talked about this a few months ago that Steve is the guy that, when people don't know, like Kyle, how do I get this auto split thing together? That's when they call up Steve. He's like, oh, you've got this shitty thing that I can absolutely crank out in 5 minutes for you. Yeah, this is what I do. Steve Clover, busting out the crappy shit in 5 minutes that no one else can do. Boom. I'm the best. My name is Steve Clover.
Can you have Steve Clover bust out some group loot as well? Because that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, a little advanced loot window. That'd be great. Yeah. Steve, if you can get on that, we'd really, really appreciate it. Especially when we get that group mining back together and the group harvesting. We're going to absolutely need that window. So get on that. Thanks, Steve. We love you. Appreciate all you do.
Thanks, Steve. Love you. Joppa mentioned that they're still discussing how they're going to roll out early access. It was more of a grain of salt than gold, but Joppa mentioned that he might roll out EA in time-locked progression style.
What the hell does that even mean?
So what that means is the first 2 weeks level capped at 10. The second 2 weeks level capped at 20. The third 2 weeks level capped at 30. And then so on and so forth and so on. Or
we've joked about time lock progression before on several of our shows. Not necessarily Rewind, but the streams that we do.
The streams, yep.
When you're going to bust out something and say something like a time lock progression, we're talking about expansions. We're not talking about you can go to that's level cap. Time lock progression is if you rolled out Gray Box and then gave us 6 weeks in Gray Box and then gave us Throne Fast for another 6 weeks and then gave us AVP for another 6 weeks. That's time lock progression. No, because
we did the old graphics first. You did 6 weeks of the old
graphics. Right. We get 6 weeks of old graphics and 6 weeks of new graphics.
No, 6 weeks of old graphics, then 6 weeks of 247, then 6 weeks of...
I've missed all these steps along the way.
This is the best idea ever.
This is another just... Let's not just throw out terms. This is a level cap. We're doing level caps in early access. That's fine. If you want to level cap us at level 10 and then we get that for 6 weeks, I don't consider that time lock progression. I consider it level capping. So don't confuse the people more, Joppa.
He also mentioned that it might be by zone. So we could get Throne Fast for 2 weeks.
Throne Fast. We've had Throne Fast for 2 years. And now you're going to give us another 6 weeks of just Throne Fast? Okay. It's only 6 weeks, I guess. Weird. This is a weird thing. I hope that this is one of those grains of salt and not gold.
Joppa mentioned we have a mastery sighting. Joppa mentioned that
mastery.
Mastery. What's that? In all seriousness, for those of you that may not know, Mastery is a system in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen where you get mastery points as you level and as you accomplish different things inside the game, and you put those mastery points into your skills and spells. And so as you put those points into your skills and spells, they get better. And the idea is that you choose which points and to go into which spells, and that's how you customize your character. So Joppa mentioned that the last point of skill mastery on your skills, this is something they're considering doing, is going to be a choice between two, like a tree. So you're going to have two choices. You pick one, you get that one, you don't get the other one. So that would create a quasi skill tree. Are you in favor of this? I've never heard this before. This is the first time I've ever heard it.
Yeah, definitely not heard of that. It's the mastery system desperately needs work like this because if the mastery system is like the horizontal leveling, and the way that they've had it is that we could have enough points to make everything level 3 master.
Yeah, you
And so
were level 7 and you had 400 mastery points.
yeah, it
ridiculous.
doesn't work well. I don't feel like we should have enough mastery points to do everything because we want characters to be unique, right? And I guess that will like bring the quote unquote meta into the play, which I don't necessarily like either, because it shouldn't matter. You know, if you're a fighter, it doesn't matter what skill tree you go down unless it's like offensive and defensive. Then it's a little different. But if it's like little things here and there where you choose your spells are a little bit stronger than other spells, or you know, your combat arts, whatever you use, then that's cool, and it gives you your character specific flavor. But when we have enough points to make everything master, or I can max out my whole tree and then maybe max out another tree, that's vanilla and boring. I don't want any part of that. So yeah, make sure that I want to be able to, with these mastery points, I want to make my character, and no one else is going to be like that. So whatever it takes, if that means it's a tree, and if it's like a crazy Final Fantasy skill sort of tree thing, that's fine. You know, if there's so many points that it blows my mind and it takes the Pantheon players 2 years to figure out what is a good line, or if they're all good, or you know, it doesn't matter, great. I want it to give flavor to the characters. I don't want it to just be something that we all have to do, like AAs, right? Like that's, everyone has to do their at least 300 points of AAs to be able to raid. No. This is just bonus stuff.
I definitely agree that skill trees are greater than mindless grinding of AA points. I want choices. I want decisions. I want to be able to shape my character. It doesn't have to be overpowering. I want it to be flavor, right? And so
Exactly.
Give me choices that are flavor choices that make my character different, that make me cool. I want the wizard that does the fire, and I want to shape my character around being a fire wizard. So give me choices that make me lean in that direction and make me epic in firefights and worthless in ice fights. I'm totally going into that knowing that that's the case, and I'm fine with it.
Maybe not worthless,
Whatever,
but
you know what I mean.
certainly when you're casting fire, you're better, right? Like that's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. The Scar Bard, or the Scarred, as some people say. Joppa was asked about the Scarred, and he said, quote, "Once we get the progeny system..."
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't even reading the question. I just heard progeny and I clammed up.
Yeah. We plan to find a way to unlock new race class combinations through that system. What do you have to say about that?
It's back now? It was gone and now it's back? Is it going to be gone again? When's it gone again? So I can be ready for when it comes back again.
I think this is like the grainiest grain of salt that you should ever take from Joppa. He can't put the lid on progeny. Like, I don't understand. Why can't he just say progeny is so far off down the line that it's not even a speck on the horizon? I'm not answering any questions about it.
Because with progeny, you have to work it in right away. So if it's going to tax so many resources that it's going to take another however many months or years to fully flesh this out, like, I don't know, Draq. I know you love progeny and this is something that you're interested in, but damn, it is so not necessary. And the fact that it keeps getting brought up and brought up and brought up, just dump it. It's like zoning. Just dump the idea of seamless zoning, because it's just not going to work. And it's going to take way too much time to figure out. Same thing with progeny. It's going to break the game somehow. And it's just, do personas. Do something else that won't take nearly as long to flesh out, because with mixing the race class combinations, then you have to mix up all the armor. You have to get new looks for all the armor. This progeny is going to take way too long. Just let people have different personas like they do in Final Fantasy 14 or now EverQuest. That's way easier. Such an easier system, and it gets around a lot of the crap. The Scarred is not going to happen unless it's on the race class combo and the armor gets fit for the Scarred, and you know it's all there at the beginning. We just can't do it. It's too much. Progeny is such a huge idea that's going to take so much work to get done. That's why Ben Dean clammed up when he hears about it, because he knew it was going to take so much damn work to get it done. Just drop it. Just let it go. It's time that we let Progeny go.
Yeah, I am the hugest and biggest fan. Wait, no, before I start in, first of all, never compare anything that's in Final Fantasy 14 to Pantheon.
Sorry.
Don't ever do that again. You're out.
I'm sorry.
Second of all, I love Progeny. I'm one of the biggest proponents of Progeny. I think it's a fantastic idea, but you are 100% right. We are well past the point of where we can add new innovative systems in the game. We are trying to launch this game at this point. We have an early access that has to be hit in December with huge goals, and after that, it's not going to slow down. This thing is on the railway to launch. It's either going to fail or it's going to launch, and we need it to launch. So you can't be screwing around with what if ideas of Progeny and have that in the background when you got way bigger fish to fry. And this is coming from the guy that loves Progeny. I think it's great, but there's no way that this can even remotely be on the table for anything, anytime, anywhere soon. You just got to dump it. You just have to say, sorry, Progeny's not on the table.
Can't please everybody.
We're not going to talk about it for the next 5 years. So put it
Eric
off.
is rolling in his board game box grave right now.
Yes.
Do you remember that show? It was
do.
just 6 episodes ago.
So
he was dying. He was 100% right. Just let it go. Frozen this bitch and let it go.
Things that we shouldn't let go. Joppa was asked about sea shanties at the Rulun dock, and Joppa says, quote, "If I know PVL, they'll probably have sea shanties at the dock."
Hell yes.
Well, I couldn't resist, so I went over to the official Discord.
Of course not.
And put the Pantheon sea shanty that we already created. Link in the description below. If you have not listened to it, it's over on Mandalorian's channel. Go like and subscribe. Put that in there and said, we're available to sing the Pantheon sea shanty at any time. You just let us know.
I mean, if we can put it on YouTube, then we can get away with getting it in a video game without having to pay any rights. I don't know if if those songs are in open domain. They should be at this point. If anyone has rights to them or anything like that, I have no idea. But yeah, or Phil will make up a new sea shanty on the spot. I know he can do it. So I'm happy to learn a brand new sea shanty that was put in specifically and only for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. How cool would that be? Just, hey, Dymlos, go sing us a sea shanty. And then I bust out a sea shanty that no one's ever heard of. And I'm like, oh, it's a part of my favorite game that is my home. Yeah, that's awesome.
You better drag me along for that.
Soon may the Pantheon come.
Indeed.
Soon may the early access come.
So Joppa mentioned that Thronefast is a port city, and also Rulun is a port city. Thronefast is the major port for the city, but Rulun is the port to get to Rainfall, which is the evil continent. So Rulun is kind of your quasi okay with evil people city. How do you feel about that?
I mean, we need that too. So evil people have to be able to travel, even if it's a little harder. I mean, EQ did it, right? Over there, right? That was a port city that was for evil people only. So no, it's good. Although it's not going to be for only evil people. It's just the way to get to that evil continent. But same sort of situation. Evil people need to travel too. And we need friends, just like all the good people. So yeah, I'm all for it.
All the goody two shoes are coming to us. Right? We're gonna be hanging out not in Thronefast, not in King's Reach. It's not happening.
Nope. Been there, done that.
The Pantheon community is full of cool projects, new people, and things that are just worth sharing. What's this over here? Look at that. So let's see what we can find in this week's Community Spotlight.
I've got some great stuff for you this week. First of all, we have a compilation video from Ludic Brainwaves. It's his journey from zero to Mad Run. It's over on YouTube. The link's below. Also, we have another Ben and I video. Ben and I is like the go-to guys for YouTube videos right now. He's cranking them out like a madman, and they are high quality. This week is Oh, the Places You'll Go, which I love because that's one of my favorite Dr. Seuss books. My mom gave me that for my high school graduation, so make sure you check out Ben and I's video. And last of all, I wanted to make sure that I recognized Albatross Odapain, who posted for us in the VIP Discord, the Pantheon VIP Discord, and posted our Necromancer short, the Necromancer stripper short. He gave us a big shout out. He thought we were extremely funny, and I love it. I am not above putting our own stuff in the community spotlight. But I would love to have your stuff in the community spotlight. If you have created any content for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen and you would like it highlighted in the community, in the Rewind community spotlight, I would love to do that. Just make sure to reach out to me on Discord and we will make that happen. All right, it's calendar time. As you know, it's the summer. Schedules are crazy. Everybody's going on vacation. Everybody's going back and forth. Nobody has a regular schedule. So that's no different with staticgroup.live. This week is crazy. First of all, I'm going to be out of town. I'm dropping the kids off with the grandparents. I'm also staying and hanging out with them for a little bit. So I'm going to be out all next week. That means no After Dark on Mondays and no Rewind next week. So I know you're all sad, but you're going to get over it. You're just going to have to wait another week. But to replace that, Tuesday starts the premiere of Drinks and Dragons. That's going to be Zelik, Sparrow, Bounty Code, Crowsinger, and Stands in the Fire. That is going to be an amazing stream. They're going to be streaming Guild Wars 2. You're going to want to tune into that. They've been having a fun time off stream, and they've been getting their characters to max level so they can do all kinds of cool stuff. You're going to want to tune in for that. Don't forget about Thursdays. That's WoW Ascension. That's Zelik, Aaron Ellis, Essen and Asera, and Feasty. Those guys are doing great. They are hilarious. If you haven't seen WoW Ascension, it's kind of a trading card meets World of Warcraft meets craziness. And that's why it works for Chaos Theory, because it is pure chaos. Last but not least, next week, Bros Before Foes. If you haven't seen Mr. C and Gulu Gulu stream Abiotic Factor, it is so much fun. And, you know, they do it as only Mr. C and Gulu Gulu can. So make sure you tune into that. That is Fridays. And again, no Rewind next week, so I will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great week. Draq out. I'm Draq Attack. Stand by for MMO News.
Well, this week, a huge bomb was dropped on Zaid's YouTube. If you don't follow Zaid, he is arguably one of the best EverQuest players of all time.
Wait, I thought that was me. I thought I was the best EverQuest player of all time.
Not even close. He does a podcast called Drama Quest, and this wasn't a real Drama Quest episode, but if you are into old EverQuest lore about different servers and things like that, it's a fun podcast. But this episode was more of like a promotional one. And so he wanted to promote his friends putting out a new TLP. The people at TACP, which is an emulated server, are putting out their version of a TLP in January. So this is going to be about as hardcore as it gets for people that are interested in time lock progression. So they're going to start with Classic just like that, Cunarch shortly thereafter, and they're going to stop at Plains of Power, which is where their TACP server stops at. So once the time lock progression, once Quorum dies, the Dragon Quorum, in their server, on this time lock progression server, they're going to merge it into their TACP server and then potentially start it over again. But who knows how long it's going to take. It's going to be a while. Now, some of the highlights of this that Zaid went over all speak to a lot of you P99 folk, definitely Draq, although it does do Luckland and Plains of Power, so you're not too happy there. But this is using one of the oldest clients, and I know that on the actual Quorum server where they're using the oldest Mac client, this is as far back as they can find it. It's still not a trilogy client because there's a lot of DirectX issues going on. So it's still not like the original client, But maybe with technology, this is kind of what Zaid said. With some technology in the future, maybe we do get through those DirectX issues and can play on a DirectX client.
I have a question.
I'm not going to be able to answer it probably.
Do we get the UI with the little square in the middle, like that's not full screen? Like
when you look in your book, it takes up the whole thing.
Yeah.
And your UI is surround. I'm pretty sure that'll be, because that was the client back then, right? Like that's what they used. You had to stare in your book to meditate. So I assume all that's going to be in.
But even when you were regularly playing, your UI surrounded your view screen. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the one that Gulu Gulu played on when we tried to play on Quorum.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's probably it. You might get a toggle, but they have stated that this is going to be as close as you can get to that 1999 experience as possible. So the XP is going to be what it was like back then. The mobs are going to be hard. It's going to be all the pre-revamped zones. So it's going to be old Runny Eye, and it's going to be old Split Paw, and all this new stuff that they put in pretty early on. They've been able to clean up and get out. So like things like we're all playing in first person again. That is the best way to play the game. If you try to put a third-party mod onto your game, even to scroll out on your mouse wheel, you're probably going to get booted. There's going to be raid rotations for guilds, so there's not any drama quests on this server. And I guess the TACP, I've never played the TACP server, so I apologize for not being able to speak to that. But I guess they don't really have much guild drama because of this sort of raid rotation. So everyone gets their own cracks. There's not going to be any instance. There's not going to be any of those agents of change that can instance all the old classic stuff. None of that's going to be in there, but they will rotate it to guilds that are interested. So that's cool. A lot of cool things, man. Heritage quests, not quests, sorry. The heritage items that they took out after classic and a little bit of Kunark, right? Zaid said there's like over 60 of them, but we all focus on things like the Mana Stone and yeah, right. Yeah, the guys, the Dark Elf Mask and things like that. Those will be in, and as many as they can put in. And I can't believe there were 60 of those items that they took out that were overpowered. I don't even know what more than 10 of them are. So something for me to go look up in my free time. But most importantly, they are not going to be bending to whiny little bitch players that want certain things. Kind of like what the Quorum server was cool, but like enough people bitched about, the Rubicite armor isn't going to drop anymore, and so the secrets made Pinkasite. Right? Remember when that happened?
I do.
Yeah,
that's
awful. Fine, but there are people that don't like that, and so if you are like the hardcore EQ purist, check out this TLP in January. I think this may be a great game for you, and experience all that hardcore 1999. I mean, they said it's going to be more 1999 than P99 is. So that kind of blows my mind because that's what they strive for. But these guys are striving for that as well. And I guess we'll see if they do a better job at it than P99 did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get out your neckbeards. This is coming. And it's going to be coming to SGL because I'm totally doing this. And I'm dragging you with me, Dymlos.
No, you're not. Yeah, I am not playing.
No, you're playing with me. It's going to be great.
Absolutely not.
Maybe.
We'll see what happens.
He says that now, but come January, he's going to be playing with me. It's going to be fantastic.
I hate Classic so much.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic.
We'll see. It could be fun for at least a little while.
No, because if it's following the classic trend, that means we have classic EverQuest for one whole year.
I think they are thinking about moving it there. I guess I failed to mention this, but they are going to be listening to the community. So like they don't know what kind of cadence they're going to release stuff on. Zaid had mentioned doing it exactly how they did it when it came out, right? Like wait a year and then you get Kunark. But there's no way. I mean, we can barely handle a month on the TLPs of Classic because you run out of stuff to do. So 12 months, that could be rough. But if the XP grind is back to what it was and the death penalty is killer, oof, could be a little rough. That could be fun though too. but I also really want my scroll wheel. Like that sucks. The no scroll wheel to go to third person. Ugh.
But I get another shot at Mana Stone.
And this could be a real camp for you, like a real 30-hour camp again.
Dude, let's do it. 30 hours. You
I'm
and I
not doing
can
that.
stay up
No.
all weekend. We'll alternate
Absolutely not.
shifts. We'll set it
No.
up. Let's do it. Dude, I need you.
Call Gulu Gulu. He'll do it with you.
You can't abandon me on my quest for the Mana Stone downloads.
No, my Mana Stone.
We are on to the top 5. And as usual, I have the best top 5 list. I've had the best top 5 lists since we've started doing top 5s. And of course, I have the best top 5 list this week. And this week is a fantastic list because we have the top 5 characters in Lord of the Rings. And I am a huge Lord of the Rings nerd. And I love Lord of the Rings. And of course, I have the best list. So this is always good for me.
I mean, okay, water. But yeah, so the reason that I brought this up is because I'm reading through the trilogy again. I just picked it up a couple days ago and I'm already halfway through book 1. So very exciting. I just wanted to, that's what popped in my head because that was what's on my mind right now, reading Lord of the Rings.
I think it's very apt for this section and a fantastic idea for a list. I'm glad you thought of it. So we'll alternate as usual, back and forth, and at the end we will include our fantastic rate tier groups list, and we'll see what they did wrong.
I'm sure it's a lot.
All right, number 5 for me is Faramir. For those of you that don't know, Faramir is Boromir's brother. And the reason that he cracks my top 5 list is because Dymlos and I, when we were in college, we got into the Lord of the Rings trading card game. And man, did we get into it hard. And
I love this game.
We were having such a great time. And I don't know, like, what, after 6 months of playing this game or whatever, I just like locked myself in my computer room and I was like nerding out, and I created the most amazing deck ever. We called it the Boromir My Brother deck because there was this card that you
flash it up right now. Make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put it up there. And there was this card that you put on Faramir that allowed you to discard cards, and I thought it was the most powerful card in.
It's pretty broken.
It
was one of those cards that you just you look at and you're like, well, this is worthless.
Yep.
But then when you get someone like Draq who really wants to exploit something and puts his mind to it, and he truly did. So yeah, no, it was a good deck. It was a good deck.
But Dymlos took this deck to a tournament, and did you win? I think you won, didn't you?
It wasn't this deck. It was a deck of my own creation that was Rohan. It was Riders of Rohan.
Oh, was it a Rohan deck?
The deck that I won with, yeah.
Oh, nice. But anyway, I thrashed a bunch of our other college buddies with this deck. It was fantastic. It was an amazing deck. So number 5 on my list had to be Faramir, just because the Lord of the Rings trading card game.
Well, number 5 for me, I love the beautiful, beautiful friendship between Frodo and Samwise. And so for me, number 5, I know you're thinking Frodo, but it's actually Samwise the Brave. Sam was such a wonderful part of this story, such a beautiful piece of this puzzle, and certainly belonged in the Fellowship, the 9 members of the Fellowship. He just, to be so loyal, one of my favorite qualities of people, and really honestly, the only quality I look for in people to become friends with them is loyalty. And so Samwise to me is the absolute king of loyalty. If I could ever find a friend like Samwise, don't go where I can't follow, Mr. Frodo. That's beautiful to me. Like the friendship passion that he had. It just he would, I mean, in the book they say that he would climb down the throat of a dragon to rescue Mr. Frodo. That's exactly what Samwise would do. That's such a beautiful thing. So as someone who is all about loyalty and loves a good, beautiful friendship story, number 5 for me, Samwise the Brave.
It's funny because I also love loyalty, and when I think of Samwise Gamgee, I think of you.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I don't know if I'd climb down a dragon's throat for you, though.
Oh, you would.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Number 4. Number 4, the Balrog. Are you kidding me? This is the most fantastic boss mob of all time. He's got the whip, he's got the sword. Like it's dude, it's
The
amazing.
dwarves dug deep.
Dug too
What-
deep.
Oh, we mined too deep, and there lay the Balrog. Love that part of the story.
Best monster ever. Fantastic. Knocked it out of the park.
Solid number 4. Solid number 4 there. Not as solid as my number 4, though, which is also a bad guy. It will be the number 2. And you're thinking that the number 2 is Saruman. Not the case. The number 2 is actually the Witch King. This dude, what a badass. While he was alive, he gets to be a king of humans. So he's already like the best king of the human race because he is the Witch King, right? Like he got the ring, he got one of the 9 rings. And so he got to live a life of wearing one of those 9 rings, which is awesome. And then he got to be evil with Sauron as his right-hand man. Like he is the Witch King. He delivers all the beatings to everyone until he runs into Eowyn. I get that. But that's besides the point. Bad guy has to lose. That's fine. But the Witch King is the most badass bad guy in all of Lord of the Rings. Balrog, great choice, Draq, but doesn't even hold a candle to the Witch King.
Whatever. The Balrog would
Whatever.
eat the Witch King's lunch.
I would love to see that fight, though. That would be a badass fight for sure.
You know what's better than the Balrog and the Witch King is Saruman the White. Of course, he is an amazing bad guy wizard, and he's got his
Shocker that this list would be wizard heavy.
I know. He's got his own tower, and he's making his schemes, and he's leading the dumb Uruk-hai into battle, and he's scheming and he's planning. He's an amazing bad guy, and Saruman the White, number 3.
I think it's because you hate trees and nature, and that's what Saruman did. He just cut down all those trees, and I think that's So all you hippies out there, all you rangers and druids, know that Draq truly does hate you.
There was a nature wizard in Lord of the Rings, Radagast. Yeah, no, he was not making this list, right? This is a freaking druid in disguise. That's who that guy was.
Well, number 3 for me, another wizard, but the best wizard, Gandalf. What a badass!
The mother of all wizards.
Mother of all wizards. Like couldn't be a better wizard out there. He's the king. From everything from being Frodo and Bilbo's friend, the fireworks, the loving side of that, but also Gandalf's a fucking badass. That motherfucker, when he told Bilbo he has to give up the ring, when he was speaking the translation, the deep speech, or whatever you want to call it, the dark tongue for one ring to rule them all, one ring to bind them, when he was talking about that in the council, and he conjured the thunder and projected his voice. Awesome. Like the dude is just badass. Plus, he was the actual real one to figure out the riddle into Moria. It wasn't actually Frodo, even though it showed him in the movie, but it was actually Gandalf. He's the one that led him all the way out there. And then the fucker took out the Balrog himself, died, came back, and rode Shadowfax, saved all of the Rohirrim, and then got Aragorn back to where he needed to be. He is like the linchpin of this whole book, and he's a badass. Gandalf, number 3, badass for sure.
The only problem I have with your take is that you put him at number 3, because Gandalf the Grey is definitely number 2. He is the person that figures out that every race is in trouble to begin with. Like, we wouldn't have even seen this.
You're right.
We wouldn't even seen this coming without Gandalf. Gandalf was like,
even Elrond said that in the council. He was like, without you, Gandalf, you are the tie of this whole thing. If you hadn't spotted this, we'd all be dead. We'd probably all be dead in a month.
Right, absolutely. And then for the pinnacle of his fight, Gandalf the Grey sacrifices himself for the Fellowship, goes down into the mine with the Balrog fighting. Dude, that's an exit right there. Gandalf the Grey, number 2.
Mic drop. For sure, mic drop moment. Absolutely. Well, number 2 for me, everyone should be in agreement with this character being in the number 2 or number 1 slot, except for Draq because he's an idiot. Aragorn, Strider, the king himself, Isildur's heir, just awesome. He is the Ranger of the North. He gets to bone Arwen. Like all lots of great stuff for Aragorn. He figures out that he needs to help the hobbits without even anyone really saying. Gandalf was captured by Saruman, right? Like he didn't know who the hobbits were, and it wasn't until Frodo got a letter from the bartender at Bree. I can't think of his name right now. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that's finally when Frodo was able to trust Aragorn, or Strider at that point. But yeah, then reforging the shards of Narsil, making Andúril the Flame of the West. Man, I've got Andúril on my wall right now. I've got a small sword collection. I know that sounds really nerdy. Guess what? I'm a nerd. And I've got Andúril on my wall because Aragorn's sword is right up there with Glamdring, Gandalf's sword, Sting, great swords, but nothing is better than the Flame of the West. Andúril, King of Swords, Aragorn, King of Men, King of Middle-earth.
Number 1! I know, you're thinking, Draq, how can you possibly top Gandalf? You can't! It's not possible! Because number 1 is Gandalf the White! This guy came back from the dead! He's Lotro Jesus! He comes back, he kicks everybody's butt, and, saves the day again and again, and leads the Fellowship, defeats Saruman, game over, Gandalf the White, number 1, no more questions, get out of here.
Why is it every week you just choose to ruin top 5 lists? This is the same character, Draq. Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White are the same.
Totally different.
So, I know that I'm never going to be able to argue this out of you, but you're just ridiculous. So your top 3 are all wizards, and one of those 2 wizards is the same wizard, is what you're saying.
Best list ever.
Best list ever. Okay, well, now that we've got that abysmal list done, I do want to throw in a quick honorable mention, and I'm shocked and appalled at myself for not putting, or at least considering putting, this character in my top 5, and that is Tom Bombadil. He wasn't in the movie. He was early on in the books. He helped the hobbits through onto Bree, through the Shire, along with Farmer Maggot, if we remember him too. But Tom Bombadil was actually the one that saved the hobbits from the tree that was eating the hobbits. Remember in the third movie when Pippin got trapped, got his foot caught, and the tree was eating him? It was actually in book 1, and it was Tom Bombadil that saved him from that through his magic. He was awesome. So honorable mention, Tom Bombadil. But number one, where is my Rohirrim at? Number 1, Éomer. King Éomer. Not King Theoden, because that dude died. The new king. King Éomer, Theoden's ward. After Theoden's son died, the captain of the Riddermark, Éomer. His sister kicks a ton of ass as well, but not nearly as much as Éomer did. It also helped that Carl Urban played this character for me, because I love Carl Urban too. But even before the movies came out, it was, for me, Éomer's my number 1 favorite character. After reading the books, he just stole the show from me. I know he wasn't a huge part of it, but then he came back a lot in book 3. They don't really show that part in the movie. He definitely played a huge role in Return of the King, and taking up after Theoden died. So, spoiler alert, Theoden died. And I know Mana Rohan's out there listening to me. I hope he leaves a comment saying, yes, for the Rohirrim! For the Rohirrim!
Blah, 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 horses, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. All right, Dymlos. Obviously, people care a great deal about our top 5 lists. I mean, they were talking about it all last week. But they also care about our raid tiers top 5 list. So why don't you go over those now?
Do we really? I don't know. These lists, they're kind of bunk. Well, let's see what they got. So we got all our good friend Ziplocs. Number 5, Shelob the Spider. We didn't mention that. That's a great one. That's where Sam, my number 5 really shows how awesome he is by killing that little thing. Number 4, we didn't mention Golem. Yeah, solid pick. He put Gollum the Evil Hobbit. And I hate to be a nerd on a nerd podcast, but actually, Golem wasn't actually a hobbit. He is considered river folk, which is akin to the hobbits, but not actually a hobbit, Ziploc. So you're wrong. Anyway, Golem, good choice. Certainly, I loved Andy Serkis's performance of that in the movie. I don't think that anyone could have done that better, honestly. He really just crushed that performance of Gollum. Kind of exactly how I see like the perfect split personality, right? Like he did such a good job with that, with the expression on his face. Obviously they used his expressions when recording that. I thought they did a really good job. Number 3 for Zip was our honorable mention, Tom Bombadil. What a stud. Super hot wife. Magical, near God-esque character. So yeah, great choice for number 3. Number 2, Gandalf the Grey, dual-wielding sword and staff. We're getting a little specific here. Does that mean that because of your list, you split Gandalf the White, this is a third version of Gandalf that we have to put on this list?
Listen, you're going to take 3 Gandalfs and you're going to like it. So quit attacking me.
Well, good. I am attacking you. And then last but not least, the GOAT, Aragorn. That dude's a stud. I mean, he was my number 2, so, and not even on your list, Draq. What the hell? How do you not put Aragorn on the list of top 5 characters? He is the king.
When I'm Aragorn, I don't even know if I want to be the king. I'm so wishy-washy about everything. I'm not sure if I love Arwen or Eowyn. Oh, I'm just going to love them both. It's going to be fantastic. I'm just going to live in this little wishy-washy world. Ooh.
So solid list, Zip, other than your Hobbit mistake. But on to our other friend Grogu in the raid party. He made quite a funny list, or tried to be a little humorous with this, so I'm gonna just trash all over it. Number 5, sorry, he put Fool of a Took. So Peregrine Took, throw yourself in next time. Same thing with you, Grogu. You making this list, go ahead and throw yourself in last time and rid us of your stupidity. But can't go wrong with any of those hobbits, right? Number 4, specifically Legolas when shooting arrows. So the rest of Legolas's time is, what about when he's, walking on snow or sliding down those stairs on a shield? I guess he's shooting arrows at the same time, so I guess that counts. But yeah, you know why Legolas doesn't belong on any of these lists? Because all of these stupid MMO players that name themselves either Legolas, Strider, Streeter, whatever however different, Strider with 4 R's, or the worst, and not a Lord of the Rings character, but Drizzt. I don't care if you're a ranger, but I do care if you name your ranger after one of those 3 legendary rangers. You need to stop. You're not funny. You're not cool. Nobody likes your name. Just stop. Just stop it. So that's why Legolas does not belong on any of these lists, because people have exploited his name for too long, and I refuse to appreciate that. So that's number 4. Number 3 is the Baggins's Ring Trio. So I assume that is the combination of Bilbo, Frodo, and Samwise, the 3 Hobbit ring bearers at any given time. Last but not least for Grogu, I went way too... Oh, no, sorry. We're on number 2. Number 2 for Grogu, he put Grand Palf. I assume that is Gandalf. I don't know what Grand Palf really means. Maybe it's in reference to him smoking a ton of weed, the long bottom leaf, or the old Toby. Look, there are even different weed strains in Lord of the Rings. That's how ahead of his time J.R.R. was. He's got multiple strains of weed. Good job, J.R.R. You totally predicted the future. Maybe that's what Grand Palf means, but anyway, I assume it's Gandalf. Good choice for number 2. And Grogu's number 1 is Golem. So Golem was left off our list completely, but on both of our raiding parties team. Did we Did we miss this up? Like, is that such a good character that Golem deserves to be in the top 5?
Absolutely not. Golem is top 10, but not top 5 material. And also, he's not a wizard, so, there's that. Boom, 160. We are rocking. Train him if you don't like him. We are headed down the railroad tracks. Let's go.
Another episode in the books, number 6 down. Another 144 to get to where Theric is on the list of how many shows he's been on. Good job, us. We're well on our way. Really sad that we didn't get to talk about that Q&A this week. Future Dymlos is very upset from where past Dymlos was, I'm sure, as you are, Draq.
There were some people this week that made a plan to hit a show at a certain date, at a certain time, and hit it. And then there are other people that didn't and had to push it. I'm not going to name any names.
Man, when they released that, it's just like, I can't believe, why do we even try to plan? Like, we just have to let it happen, and then we always have to make up for it, right? Like, we can't ever strategize to plan our time. We always have to be reactive and never proactive, right? Like, I guess we just have to be in a constant reactive state with VR, because when we plan, shit gets canceled. When we don't plan anything, all the information drops like crazy, and we have to scramble for to get anything, or have to wait a whole nother week because we can't find a decent time to record close to the show time.
It's almost like VR knows when we're recording the rewind and kind of plans their schedule accordingly.
They do seem to schedule around our schedules when we're out of schedule. I did want to mention that in the Discord, Savanya did say that she's going to write up an FAQ. So at least we're going to get some of the answers that might have been answered, but I guess we'll wait for a reschedule to really dig deep into them.
I guess we're just in a holding pattern. Well, remember, no rewind next week. We will see you in 2 weeks. It's going to be great. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye, everybody. Bye.